to call the meeting to order as soon as Andrew says we're good.
Right.
See, Andrew's in charge. Everybody please rise for the pledge. Pledge of allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for attending on this cold, rainy, dark evening. Seriously, driving home in the dark is terrible. From Albany to here, I can't imagine going the other way. All right, first item on the agenda, we have a presentation from our elementary PTA, and then we'll turn it over to them.
Come on, Sarah.
Hop up. Need a bottle of water. I'll have it eat it. Sorry.
Can we have a raise? Should we have a raise? Nope. No, you're fine. From 0 to 0. There we go. Now we get the raise.
Alrighty, so the Gloversville Elementary PTA tonight is going to be kind of recapping where we left off last year this time, and going through what we're doing currently, as well as what we have planned for the rest of the year. So my name is Teresa Bushy. I'm president of our elementary PTA. This is
Alicia Marisi, vice president.
We also have in the back Melissa Halley, who's our treasurer, and Amanda Teets, who's our secretary. So in the packets that you have in front of you, everything that I'm going to kind of do tonight is going to be just a basic kind of touch point of everything. But the packets that you have in front of you go more in depth on everything that I'm going to talk about tonight, so you can kind of look it over at your leisure. But just as a quick snapshot of our 24-25 year, kind of broken down in numbers. We handed out over 700 books, 20 free laptops. We gave out over 25 arts awards. We helped funding field trips for all of our scholars. Field days, we had 7 family nights/days. We organized picture days for 3 buildings. We gave out 6 awards to community members. We had 4 areas of focus for last year that are going to carry over into this year as well. That's STEM, arts, literacy, and community. We provided an assembly for all of our scholars, and we advocated in meetings with offices of 2 senators and 2 House representatives. So this time last year, we just came off of Spooky STEM, and it's the same this year. Do you want to talk a little bit about it? It's Alicia's baby.
Yeah, this one's kind of my baby. Yeah, I really enjoyed this one. It's basically like a hands-on science fair. So last year we had 13 stations, keep it spooky, but we were up to 21 this year. Lots of different kinds of experiments covering all different areas of science, technology, engineering, and math. I think we had about 75 kids this year, so definitely had a good turnout again, and everyone seems to have had a lot of fun.
So, as Alicia said, so Principal Benjamin had come to us and said he's trying to get more pre-K, more pre-K families into the schools. So we kind of expanded the tables to cover that pre-K age group.
Yeah, a little more like sensory activities and recognizing numbers, not necessarily higher math like the older kids are doing.
Yes. And the idea behind it is essentially everything at all of the tables, for the most part, stuff that families can do at home. So we encourage families to take pictures of the instructions so that they can kind of recreate it at home, and it kind of brings that learning.
And I'm going to be posting all of the experiments. I'm almost done getting the instructions down to a printable size, because they're giant on the tables in the event, and with like the worksheets and everything, so people can do them at home.
So next is the National PTA Reflections Program. So for the last 50 years, National PTA has offered this program. It's essentially a tiered arts competition. So at the unit level, we recognize all of the scholars that participate. If they move on to region, they can get scholarships. To state, they get scholarships. At the national level, much larger scholarships. I think National gave out close to $2 million last year for kids all across the country. So this year we're doing it again. So last year's theme was accepting imperfection. This year's theme is I Belong. And Lisa Gouda is hosting some after-school workshops where she kind of takes the kids and walks them through exploring the theme and creating pieces. So November 21st at Boulevard, we're going to have our art showcase, and every kid that participates is going to get a little medal, and it's a nice little family night to celebrate those kids. So speaking of Lisa Gouda, so New York State PTA, they have the Innovative Teacher Grant every year. And essentially, it encourages teachers from all across New York State to come up with an idea that reaches as many kids as possible. And then, depending on the impact and the reach, they could be awarded funds. So Lisa was one of 10 winners for New York State this last year, and was to revamp the courtyard. So she got $400, and then our PTA unit contributed another $500. And if you've been over to Boulevard in the courtyard area recently, it makes it a flex space essentially. So there's flexible seating, there's a hammock, there's little board games and things like that. So Play-Doh, bubbles, things to kind of go outside and have quiet time, read books, etc.
It's smart.
Yes.
There's a mural the kids painted.
Yes. So what you won't be able to hear is all the oohs and ahs, which makes me kind of sad, because there's a lot of them. So you kind of hear it. So last year, we brought an indoor planetarium to all 3 buildings. It was something we were super excited about. Essentially, bringing the field trips to the schools to make sure that every kid gets a chance to see it. It has the wow factor. It gets kids excited about learning. So this year, we're going to do the same thing. Still the wow factor of the gigantic inflatable globe. But instead of talking about the stars, it's going to be tailored to each grade on any of these topics, essentially. So then in March, sorry, thank you. In March of last year, we took part in Hill Day with New York State PTA, and National PTA. We were we were 3 of 44 New York State delegates. We were the only unit that got to share the story of Gloversville directly with lawmakers. Okay, you want to go back in the chair? Okay. So, you want to sit over here? 1 second, baby. This year,
This year, we're gonna be going actually down to DC. This was a virtual session.
Yeah.
This year, they're actually hosting it in DC to meet with lawmakers face to face. So we're hoping to participate in that as well.
so last year, part of our literacy initiative, we did book bingo, which was essentially really easy games of bingo. And each of those bags had 7 to 10 books in them. And every child that came got to leave with at least 1 bag of books. So any of the leftover books from that event have been circulated via either the little libraries, or we handed some out at the last literacy event that the school had hosted. So then,
Over 700 books.
47, 700. So this year, we're going to be working on pick a reading partner. So some in a second, baby. So some PTAs choose to do a much smaller, scaled down version of it. Some go all out. There was one school district that did a public transportation theme, and each kid got a Metro card, and they got to bring it. They got to go on the subway every morning and bring their Metro card with their log time in the back. But essentially, it is a reading initiative that encourages families to read together for 20 to 25 minutes a night. So we're looking forward to kind of putting that together for towards the middle to end of the year. So we also gave away some community awards this past year, and
This one's my mama. This is my mama. This is my mama.
and then we'll do the next slide. And then we're going to do it again this year in February. So 2025 Ready, Set, Go grant. That was a grant that we received from National PTA to run this program that essentially just talks about limiting screen time, and from that we were also gifted 25 laptops that we were able to give out to kids in the community.
And a bunch of equipment for us to use as well, including this computer.
Yes.
Can I go get my daddy?
You can go get them if you want. So, hey, who's this? Who's that?
Me.
Me. So,
That was that one.
did you have fun making your own stuffed animal?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was that one.
that was everyone.
I was one how can that I won.
Yeah, did you have fun?
I don't want this one.
Yes. So the Animal Land event, it's a family event for all ages.
That's me.
That's you. Essentially, it's Build-A-Bear, essentially. If you were there last year, it was, I think we've had pretty much every elementary family there. It was kind of chaos. But essentially, you stuffed your animal, or you could bring your own animal, you didn't have to buy one. And then you kind of went around to each station, so they got to go to the pet store, they got to go to the vet, they got to go to the groomer.
And they made little carriers for their pets.
Yes.
Collars and all sorts of fun stuff.
So on the next slide,
That's the video.
So we're gonna do it again this year, but we kind of learned from last year. So we're gonna do sensory hour, and then we're gonna do building specific time slots, because, like I said, we had a line out the door pretty much the entire time. It was a little overwhelming. So to round out the year, we did color run, which, if you're not familiar, it's just an excuse to get really dirty as a family. It was our
My sister was in that.
yes. So
I was in it.
you got to run.
This was Apple's ice cream truck.
Yes. So again, family for all ages. We're bringing not just school-age kids, but the ones that are not quite in school yet, to kind of meet all the staff, volunteers. It's a big community event, and we're looking to round out our year again with Color Run. This is a bunch of fun, but we're going to have more color again this year. So if anybody wants to throw color this year, let us know. 1 second, baby. Almost. And again, it's families coming together,
Mom, don't watch it.
and we're going to do it again this year.
We had a really good time. There were donuts and ice cream, and he got to get messy.
And you got to get messy.
Mom, bring me.
Um,
Mom, bring me.
1 second, baby girl. So, to close it out, besides all of the services that we do throughout the year, you'll still see us around volunteering and supporting all the schools. 1 second. Growing the bond between school and PTA, and of course showing love to our staff who support our children every day.
My mom's wearing that dress.
So if you're interested in becoming a member, you can use this little QR code. You can come to any of our meetings. Everybody's welcome. You don't have to be a member.
And our next meeting is on Wednesday.
Yes, our next meeting is on Wednesday at Boulevard at 4 o'clock. And then, thanks. And
I
if,
got my mom wearing that blue one.
and if nobody has any questions, I'm going to go put these kids to bed. Any questions or?
Teresa, I just want to say that you guys, I love what the PTA has been doing the last few years under the leadership team that you have. You really do a great job combining fun, unique educational opportunities, really promoting community and literacy. So it's perfect for our school community. Appreciate what you and your fellow leadership team have really done with the PTA in recent years. Thank you.
Sorry about all the chocolate.
Are you? Are you?
Next item is public comment. Do we have anybody here for public comment this evening? Alright. Moving on to board discussion. We have the board meeting minutes from the October 6th meeting. Any questions or concerns on those? Motion to approve those. Kelly, seconded by, oh, there's Sharon. All in favor? Anyone have anything else for board discussions tonight? One thing I had, and I forgot to ask you before the meeting, is walking at the high school, because the text messages have already started.
Okay. I don't blame them. It's the dark at 4 o'clock, so. All right. Let's make sure I get that set up with you.
I think it is.
Okay, I just wasn't sure if it was open or not yet.
That started today.
Started today?
Awesome.
5:30 to 7:30.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What days of the week, Cody?
I can find out.
All right, I will start sending text messages out. Thank you.
You know it's at least Monday.
Right? If nobody has anything else for board discussion, we'll move on to the superintendent's report.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Before I start, just want to mention a couple things. We have Number of donations, some of which came pretty late, so they won't be on this agenda, but I wanted to acknowledge them anyway. The Knights of Columbus, 4th year in a row that they've donated, and this year is over 4 dozen coats and snow pants for elementary age students. And we also received an anonymous donation for approximately 50 winter jackets for middle school and high school students. So really nice jackets, and that's an age group that doesn't always get thought of when people are donating, so we really appreciate that anonymous donation. Retirements and acknowledgements, we have Beth Schleich on tonight's agenda, a social worker, 12 years with the district, retiring in January. We have Maureen Cooper, reading teacher with 26 years of service, and Paul Wilder, a mechanic with 30 years. So we appreciate those 3 people's many years of service to the district and wish them a long, healthy, happy retirement. In my travels around the district, often run into staff members and ask what's going on. And Trinda Sweeney, who's here tonight, showed me some cool pictures of a trip she made to Africa, hunting trip. Pretty jealous, but aside from making me jealous, she pointed out a couple things that I thought were noteworthy. One of them, which she told me a story about her son, who utilizes our city transportation, and him and some of his friends are allowed to wait inside the Century Linen laundromat on North Main, so to help the kids get out of the inclement weather. And that's something that I don't think we do enough of, probably celebrating those business partners that go above and beyond and accommodating our students. And she said, her son gets up early, goes, sees his friends, and it's really nice that the business takes care of our kids. So big shout out to Century Linen for their partnership and looking out for our youth. And Trinda also told me that second-year teacher Julia Robert secured a $500 educator's grant from Broadview. So congratulations, Julia, and certainly appreciate a second-year teacher taking the initiative to do something like that. So, and I appreciate Trinda taking the time to tell me about it. Thank you. I'm sure that if anybody else has good stories of partnerships and people going above and beyond, I'm more than happy to hear and happy to share. So, moving on, last week we had our Literacy Under the Lights inaugural event, which turned into Literacy on the Hardwood due to the change in weather. We had 2.5 months of drought, and we tried to plant something outside, and lo and behold, the foul weather comes. It was I would say, successful inaugural event. I want to thank a number of people: Chris Majeski, the whole administrative team, Courtney Wood, Andrew Donito, LaShawn Hawkins, the Little Huskies organization, our entire Buildings and Ground staff, the PTA, Glove City Coalition, Diane Mott and the middle school band, Liz Sterling, select choir, our Huskies varsity football team, and the girls soccer seniors. Bailey was there, and it was, that team was represented as well. Obviously, we combined it with the trunk or treat event that the Little Huskies was putting on, and they did a nice job of telling the kids you can't get candy, so you go in there and get read to. So, I think moving forward, we've already put ideas together, because the trunk or treat event, which is a nice next item on this list, the night before here at the high school had over 700 cars participate. So the Key Club puts that on, and it'd be great if we could somehow marry the two and use maybe the field up here if the weather cooperates, and maybe we can really make this a robust event. And we gave out hundreds of books. I know the PTA was giving out books. We also had many books that we were giving out from former literacy series that were just in storage, trying to flood this our school community so parents can read to their children each and every night, as Teresa was talking about. Next year, maybe we continue to grow this event. Really great seeing our secondary student athletes reading to our primary age kids. Really brings it full circle of what we're trying to accomplish here. Everybody seemed to have a good time. It would have been nice just to see a larger turnout for the reading portion. Any questions on Literacy Under the Lights and our ideas for the future? Certainly receptive to more ideas, and if people have other ideas to help grow this event, we're all ears. Okay. On the back of this paper is a draft policy on animals on school grounds. Took a run at it. Danielle Erie does not have a policy, but they've sent us some. This is a kind of a combination of a couple different. It does allow animals out of school hours on roadways and sidewalks, but not on our athletic playing fields. Obviously, it's a carry in, carry out. You know, you're supposed to take care of your dog's waste. And if they don't, we would reserve the right to ban people or animals for whatever reason. Obviously, there's service animals that are exempt from this policy with the proper reasons for being on our property. We have therapy dogs across our district in multiple buildings. So those are covered under other policies. But if you would, just take a look at this when you get a chance. And if you have any suggestions or questions, concerns, if you say, Dave, we don't want any animals anytime ever, then we can do that too. But I thought this struck a happy medium, gave people an opportunity to walk in a relatively safe area off school hours, maybe in the weekends, evenings, when it doesn't get dark at 4. And if it's something that you support, then we would put it in front of the board for a vote in future meetings. But any questions on, I know a couple months ago we talked about this, and I told you to get the policy in front of you. So, any questions or thoughts on this? Or if I'm moving in the wrong direction, please let me know. Okay. What Ray used to say, if silence is consent. Right. Chris, you're going to strike that up?
Yes.
So we put together a PowerPoint presentation that we're going to try to start sharing with the community more about our pending capital project vote, which is set to take place on Tuesday, December 9th.
Maybe.
So the community doesn't have this, but the board has a copy of this. And Teresa, I don't know if you want to have me on, but I'd be happy to come to the PTA meeting this week and go through this, answer any questions people might have. So if you have time, I'd be happy to come. Just let me know. So the project overview, obviously we're proposing a capital project. This is the flower that we're proposing.
Lovely.
We love technology.
Thanks,
Tuesday, December 9th, 11 to 8. Obviously, this project, it's important to us, and obviously we think to the taxpayers, that it will have a zero impact on our tax levy. I'll just keep going. Obviously, we think it maximizes community benefit. The project we are proposing is to improve the safety, efficiency, functionality, and experiences for our scholars and staff. And as I said, it is zero cost to taxpayers. The total projected cost is roughly $40 million. There you go. You can go to the next slide, Chris. Obviously, key highlights. December 9th, zero impact for residents, facility and safety improvements district-wide, and a focus on energy efficiency, long-term infrastructure upgrades. You got to take care of your school systems. And a big piece of this project is the middle school roof. This entire roof is off warranty, and the people who work here will tell you that we're already and have been having issues. Please progress. The project is fully funded through state building aid, capital reserves, and strategic financial planning to ensure no increase on local taxes. I think that's really important. I think this board does a great job, Kathy, in being fiscally conservative, saving money where and when we can to ensure that when projects come up and opportunities maybe to enhance our offerings to the school and to the community, that it will be done at no increase to our local tax base. Complete replacement of the middle school roof that I mentioned will ensure building integrity, improve safety, efficiency, and protect infrastructural spaces from leaks and damage. Pretty obvious, right? Somebody I know just had a tree fall on their house Friday night. They have 3 holes in their roof, and it's pretty important that they get that roof fixed really quickly. So middle school's not gonna have any trees fall on it. If we do, that's a pretty bad storm. But we do have leaks. It's a large flat roof. We live in the Northeast. It's really important that we replace this roof. It's our largest building. Outdated heating systems will be replaced as well. Energy efficient boilers, improving building comfort, reliability, and operational cost savings all across the district in multiple buildings. Go ahead, advance. The new secure entryway for our district office, we did pull that out of the last project, just finding areas that we had to contract in order to expand in other areas. So we pulled the secure vestibule out of this office, and it's not really fair to the people who work on this floor because we get a large amount of visitors because this is where a registrar's office is, special education, obviously the business office, new employees. or potential prospective employees, taxpayers, retirees. We get a lot of visitors to this floor, and it makes sense that we do what we to ensure the safety of this floor, because obviously you can access the students upstairs from this area as well. Boulevard, new main entrance by the bus zone to improve traffic flow. That area, that atrium, that A-frame atrium has just been a tripping hazard, well, a slip hazard, mostly in the wintertime. If you know that right now there's a large sun, or it's almost like a greenhouse. It heats up a lot during the warm weather, and during the winter it comes down here and freezes on the current A-frame, and the water drips down and creates a real slip zone where kids are coming right out to the bus. This new design will address that. It'll also prevent those teenagers who want to be the next mountaineer to be able to climb up onto the roof. We've had kids access our roof from that area with the design. This will prevent that from being able to happen. And you will still have some natural light, but it won't be built like a sunroom. Should be nice. Also, let's just mention that. Husky Stadium upgrades. This is a pretty cool piece of this project that we hope to be able to bring to this community. A new synthetic turf field at Husky Stadium would serve as a premier athletic venue for baseball and football, and also serve any number of organizations. Once upon a time we had a color guard competition on Husky. That's something that maybe we can increase, bring in student athletes and student performers from across the region, across the country. That one brought in from across the country. Currently, we do graduation and varsity football games and some modified games on that field for football, and obviously the baseball, varsity baseball. The amount of money that goes into maintaining that every year, we have to do roughly this half the cost anyway, because the drainage is shot on that current field. If you go down to ground level, you can look at the other end zone, you'll just see somebody from the waist up. That's how much the ground has moved. So the substrate, the sub-material underneath has to get removed anyway to get redone. So this additional cost, which is covered in the project, if we turf that whole thing, it makes that facility usable as long as the snow's not on it, by any organization, by any teams. So modified can practice and play there. Little Huskies could play there much more than they currently do. And obviously the varsity team can practice on the field that they would compete on a daily basis. So we think that's a great opportunity for our city, for our community. And here's an artist rendition of what we're talking about. That whole area, the baseball field and the football field, it will be lined with those two sports. The field up here, the turf field, serves field hockey, girls and boys soccer, and softball. So these other two varsity sports would be served, and you can use a certain type of paint. So if you wanted to host a game here of a different sport, you can paint the field and it would wash off at the first rainfall. A couple other big things in Park Terrace as well. This area here that we proposed to build a separate parking lot area. As everybody knows, for graduation, football games, the parking is not ideal for this stadium. If we were able to create a separate entrance that didn't take you up by the school, and a large parking facility right here, and a better student drop-off, safer for parent drop-off. This is the current bus loop right here. You'd have a safer parent drop-off right here. You'd have staff parking down here during the school day, and also be usable for event, graduation, football, baseball games, etc. Whatever we want to do. So pretty exciting. That's the largest, most obvious piece of this project. A lot of the other stuff is functionalities, things in utility spaces and roofs and boiler rooms. So there's not a lot of wow factor in this project outside of this field. But it seems like a great opportunity to do it with zero impacts on the tax base. Community benefits, enhanced safety for scholars and staff, improved energy efficiency, sustainability, expanded opportunities for athletics, community engagement, and protecting our investments in all district facilities. So we think we have a good rationale for what we're proposing to the school community, and we hope they support it. Is there anything the board would like to add to this project, or any questions about what I just presented? So I'm going on to talk to the town the next few weeks. Me and Jason Schubick have been chatting back and forth, so it gives an opportunity for taxpayers to ask questions. We will get this presentation up on our Facebook page and our school district website. We'll create a project tab. If there's not one already, is there one already?
There isn't one yet.
Okay, so we'll put a tab up on there, and we will make sure, we'll get it out on Parent Square as well, try to get this project that we're proposing in everybody's hands and answer any questions people might have. So, any questions on the proposed capital project Again, December 9th, Bleecker Town Hall, and Levelville High School Gymnasium. All right, couple things, Boulevard basement clean out, second time in 5 years. We filled 2 dumpsters last week. I worked with the B&G staff for about 1.5 days last week. I'm sure they're happy not to see me today. But I enjoyed working alongside the grounds crew, and it's good that I was there, because I think the reason we end up with a lot of excess material is people don't want to throw it out. And it's not that I do, but somewhere along the way, somebody's got to make a decision. Anything that was broken, busted, you got bookshelves with a splinter hazard, I can see why they're taken out of circulation. And it's just filling up that basement. So we're probably going to be filling up more dumpsters over there. And my hope is to create a space where the elementary K-5 literacy, we're gonna build shelves, everything that they're using and plan to use, whether it's Little Free Libraries, there's new CKLA series, other supplemental materials, those are in spaces that the K-5 people know exactly where they are, rather than scattergun approach all over the 2 separate basement areas. Music would get an area, drama would get an area, each elementary school would get an area. Obviously, Buildings and Grounds needs the most area, because they have the large supplies and stuff. And it'd be great if we could come up with a way to sell supplies, but again, everybody's busy. I don't know, Bill Cooper's always advocated for a class to do it. It sounds great, I do support it. It's just something we have not gotten off the ground yet. Maybe to have a class with kids go in there, take photographs, explain what the materials are, the equipment, and sell them on some kind of Craigslist or eBay. That would be ideal, but in short term, we've reached out to other schools, private schools, to see if they want some of our outdated literacy materials, chairs, desks, but most of the stuff we're accessing has been used in service a long time, and it's gonna end up in Borns or in the county waste facility. This next
Could one of the
item,
clubs take,
I'm sorry.
Could one of the clubs take that on?
I don't know which club it would fit under right now. Honestly, right now, it's such a mess. It's just been haphazard. I'm not trying to point a finger at anybody. I'll take responsibility for why it's a mess, but it's a mess. People come down, they just put stuff there, they forget about it, some tag left on it. It's so haphazard. Maybe I am ACOD more than I ever thought I was, but I want it clean, I want to organize and make sure we know where everything is and each unit. I don't think the secondary buildings need to use that facility at all. This is truly just a Kingsborough and Boulevard primarily, because Park Terrace does have their own basement where they can probably store stuff. So Kingsborough does not. They have a crawl space, so they do not have any storage at Kings. And we have 5 pianos out of service. 5 pianos. So I asked the music folks, go down, please keep one. Let's get rid of the other 4. They're literally never gonna be used. They're gonna collect mold. I wanna get things off the ground, old books. It's too bad throwing out books, and we are doing our best to keep as many as we can, but some of those old leveled readers, there's only so much you can hold on to. So, I don't like throwing out anything that could be of value to somebody, especially books. But I think we've done a good job of trying to prioritize and save everything we can as far as literature, and we're trying to give it out, we're trying to put it in the hands of parents. We were really forcing it on people at the Literacy Under the Lights event, and we hope that we have enough still saved that we can do that for 4 or 5 years without bringing any more into the collection. So it's a good endeavor, it's time well spent, and this next bullet you can see is high school desk replacement. In the last budget, we set a priority to replace 30 classroom sets in our high school. Some of those chairs were there when I was here 30 some odd years ago. That was kind of surprising to me. That's getting your money's worth. So we're going to replace 30 high school sets, and those chairs I do not want stacked haphazardly in the Boulevard basement. We'll keep a fraction of them if they're in good shape. My guess is whatever is in those 30 classrooms, there's other classrooms that could use the best that they got. Maybe Mr. Headwell is all over that. I don't know, I haven't really talked to him about that. So he's already thinking ahead on it. But we will be accessing whatever comes to us, and whatever's done, Buildings and Grounds is going to take those aboards. They do get some kind of poundage and money in return for that. Any questions about what I just covered about the furniture replacement or disposal? It's also IT. We have VCRs and VCR tapes. We have TVs with the strap over the top. We have overhead transparencies machines. Trenda wants those.
No,
Yeah. I got one overhead transparency machine you can have.
So my biggest thing, I guess, is there any way we could take an inventory of what we have? We do have a great amount of teachers that are looking for items for their classrooms, and we just were under the understanding that there was nothing available to us. So if we could have some kind of inventory whenever they start to organize, instead of selling off, let's try to give our teachers some things that they might be able to utilize out of that.
100%. Trenda. I did ask the elementary administration to make sure our staff knew that, I think I set an arbitrary date of mid-November. I forget what date it was, but if you or any of your colleagues want to go on a tour, I'd be more than happy to meet you there after school, and if you want something, that's great. You know, let us know. I just don't want to earmark, say, hey, don't get rid of this, because I might take this in 5 years.
I know, and that's why I said we should have just had, a roundabout inventory of something, at least then if they knew if you had something they were looking for. It's so hard because when you throw it out there, well, if you need anything, let us know, and they're like, well, do you have this, do you have that?
So my hope is, first of all, even right now, as much of a mess as it is, I will meet anybody down there who is interested to see what we have. There's filing cabinets, there's desks, there's chairs, there's, most of the AV equipment is very outdated. But as I said, I mean, there's books, there's leveled readers from previous series. A teacher might say, I love that book, and kids really enjoyed that. So we have an admin meeting tomorrow morning, and we'll talk to the elementary team about maybe creating a structure or opportunity for teachers who are interested in seeing what we have to get down there before we toss anything else out.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Early CTE discussion last week. Chris and I and Christine Elias met with our counterparts in Johnstown as well as BOCE's administration to talk about an early CTE program. When the board had a retreat in September, that was a pretty clear directive to me to try to create an early career tech education opportunity. Conversation starting. Other districts are interested. Amsterdam, Mayfield, and OESJ have all voiced interest. We're looking at 9, 10. We're going to try to, for MECO, and be housed at MECO. We're going to try to get off the ground for September of 26. Still a ton of work to do, but I think we got the right people in the room right now. We meet again on November 17th at MECO. Some of the people have never seen that facility. It's ready to go. That building is nice and clean and painted, and there is a little bit of roof work in this project. One area that still needs to get done, but that building, the CO is current. The kitchen might need a little bit of upgrades because it's been closed. We have been pilfering some kitchen equipment to backfill other buildings that are currently serving kids food. So we would have to take a look at that. But all in all, it's got a new vestibule, new office. That building is ready to go. And if we can get a 9th and 10th grade regional early CTE program off the ground there, I think it's a win. That'd be great. Win for everybody. And just want to turn over to close out my report to Chris and the board members that attended the NYSBA convention in New York City.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dave. So on the 23rd and 24th of October, Rob, Sharon, Kelly, and I were able to spend a couple of days at the NYSBA convention in Manhattan. Had a great time, shared many laughs, and some great stories, a lot of good food, but when we got there on Thursday, the session that we wanted to attend was already closed out, unfortunately. But on Friday, we were able to attend many productive sessions. Just a few that I wanted to highlight quickly. There were a few sessions, not as many as I expected, but a few sessions on AI. And actually, Rob, Sharon, and I attended one. It wasn't the most engaging presentation by any means, but there were a couple of good takeaways, and one that I brought back to our admin team is that the two principals who reported, one from New York City schools, the other from Buffalo, they've developed some protocols and procedures and policies in their district as a result of their passion for AI. And one of the key pieces of information they've used is a guidebook that Chicago Public Schools has implemented. And that's sort of the standard bearer right now in the country for what AI can bring for our students as well as our faculty and staff. So we've begun to utilize some of that with the use of AI, with ChatGPT, being able to outline some of the necessary elements of a policy that we can create, again, for use for not only our faculty and staff, but for our scholars. And one of the key points that the presenters made was that having a pretty comprehensive but concise and easily understood policy can help us with privacy matters, can also help us with the necessary professional developments that's needed to really get this off the ground in a full-fledged notion that can benefit our students and their achievement moving forward. So again, while it wasn't the most engaging presentation, I think there were some key takeaways there. And one of their recommendations was to establish an AI committee, which we've already done. We've had 2 meetings thus far. We established that back in September, and we had another meeting last week, and we've begun to look at some policy and some ways that we can provide that training that's necessary to our faculty and staff. One of the other presentations that I saw that was of note, we looked at some performance project-based learning opportunities in having that in collaboration with some community partners. And this allows students to really have an end product that then benefits their community. So I think some of the examples, let's see, there was a farm-to-table option in which the students were able to provide food to the school cafeterias from food that they had grown. Any remaining items, produce, were then in a local co-op. Obviously, we have a local co-op here in the city that we might be able to do some partnership with in those regards. There was also a student committee that was partnering with their local Department of Public Works to prioritize work that needed to be done in the city of, I think it was Wappingers Falls. So that's a great opportunity for the students to work with some folks who they might be able to partner with and be employed with in the future in their post-secondary lives. And what was the other? Oh, there was also a piece in which some students were providing communication, some similar elements to what Andrew does in a communication specialist for a local hospital in the Hudson Valley. And they were having social media posts, and students were doing a work study, so to speak, with the local hospital. So I thought that was noteworthy. And again, the notion of performance-based learning will only ramp up with the portrait of a graduate. So how do we then provide some opportunities for our students to embed those end products into our local community? And the last one that I wanted to speak about was just nothing really novel, but Salamanca School District, which is, I believe, about an hour south of Buffalo, they did some surveys of students, and they take personality surveys, and focusing the programs on students' temperament, whether they're an introvert, an extrovert, providing student choice. Some of the things that they learned from the data they collected then can help students to overcome some of their anxiety disorders and some of the challenges that they face on a regular basis. So that was certainly a 3 of note. I don't know if there are any ones that you wanted to share, Sharon, Rob, Kelly?
I went to the one from Varsity Tutors.
That's right, we've considered partnering with them.
Yeah, their AI chatbot built into that for students. It seemed promising. I mean, the woman who hosted it found out an hour before the meeting that she had to give the presentation because the other person wasn't there. So
It's always nice.
It was nice. I mean, she did a good job using AI to build her slide deck, so. I thought it was pretty good. I mean, if that's something we're using, I thought the AI chatbot integration into it was pretty good. It was a learning model, so the more the student interacted with it, the more tailored the responses to help with the differentiated learning.
Definitely a great feature.
We met with them twice here on site, and I think it's the largest tutoring platform in the country.
Yes.
Serves millions of kids. Florida, in particular, had a lot of success. I know Fairfax County, Virginia, a lot of those county schools in the South utilize the program. So we're talking about sticking our toe in the water, seeing how it works with some of our smaller populations, and then going from there.
The keynote speaker was Tim Shriver of the Kennedy family, and he has developed something called the Dignity Index, which in the political climate that our country's in, I think we have to be very aware that our children are listening, and how we communicate in terms of conversations that we may not agree on. You know, there's a level of dignity where at the lowest level where you are totally intolerant, and there's levels to go up where you are showing another person their value and listening to them. And there's a youth version of that survey that can be implemented in schools so that students can respect one another, can disagree, and can grow from one another. So I found that very interesting. The other thing that I found very interesting and very concerning is the concerns about social media and how predators can take profiles of students and actually use those profiles they take their personalities and they put them in positions where they can extort money from them. They threaten them, they threaten to release rumors, pictures that they may get. So I'm hoping that in some way we're educating our students of the dangers, I guess, out there in terms of all of the social media and other ways of communicating online.
That's a great point. I'm sure some of our classes do it, but it's probably not as robust as it can and should be, given
Agreed.
just how prevalent it is.
Scary stuff.
Well, sounds like you all had a great trip, and appreciate you reporting out.
Did-
Cody,
Just want to thank Danielle for coordinating the accommodations, both travel and lodging, so great job as
They were
always,
very
Danielle.
nice, Danielle.
Well done.
Before I conclude my report, Cody did get back to me via text, using that technology. And walk-in the gym is 5:30 to 7:30, Monday through Thursday. Is there any requirements for folks that we need to get out there?
This is at the front door, so I believe we just head there and check in for.
Okay. All right. That concludes my report. I will need an executive session to talk about personnel and contract negotiations.
All right, any questions? All right, next item, we have a report from our Director of Student Support Services. Turn it over.
High confidence out there.
Got a clicker too. I'm going high tech. Well, thanks for having me here this evening, guys. It was just about a year ago that I came to my first Gloversville and Large School District Board of Education meeting, and I was sitting on the other side waiting for my board appointment. So I'm excited to be here almost a year in, a little short from that. I'm Sarah Matarazzo. I'm the Director for Student Support Services. Our two assistant directors are here with us this evening. Jody Hoosbear and Kirsten Thompson, who you, of course, I'm sure remember from Kingsborough. I want to just start by letting everybody know, like, this is really where we're coming from as a department. We're here for scholar support, we're here for faculty and staff support, parent support, and administrative support. So to that end, we've restructured a little bit. The department was previously structured, we had an elementary sort of person that took care of things and a secondary assistant director. So right now, the three of us are really jumping in and tackling all levels, all hands on deck. And some days it feels a little harried, but we have already received great feedback from our administrators and teachers that they feel that the level of support for staff and faculty, students has, that they've seen an improvement. So that's where we're coming from. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the goals that we're working through this school year. Oh, I forgot to mention that this picture is Mrs. Hughes' class. This one. This one's Mrs. Hughes' class at Kingsborough. It was actually her first graders last year. And you recognize some of our football players. So our first goal, and these all three of our department goals relate to the district goals as well, is to strengthen staff knowledge and skill through collaboration and coaching and professional development. So we're working on a couple of different areas. We feel that our population continues to be more and more challenging. And as such, we need to grow the capacity of our teachers and our staff in order to meet those challenges. The difficulties, the disabilities that our students and the scholars are coming in with aren't the same as they may have been 20 years ago. So we're working to grow those staff strengths. And we're working on things such as specially designed instruction, which is really the meat and potatoes of special education. Explicit instruction, which is a proven model that works with students from all backgrounds and disabilities, as well as some more specialized professional development focusing on behavior and working with students on the autism spectrum. So our expected impact, this really supports our overall district improvement goal. If the special ed students are succeeding, then everybody is succeeding. So this is gonna help us support those diverse learners across the settings in all the buildings. Our second department goal is to ensure curriculum access in our special classes. This really came out of some of the data from New York State on our 3 through 8 and high school Regents exams and graduation rates, that our special education students really weren't meeting the state targets in terms of proficiency on testing. So we feel that this is an area that really needs to have that curriculum alignment. Our teachers are working with Christine Elias, with content area teachers, and our special educators at all grade levels are working with grade level curriculum now, and that is that's a new expectation for a lot of our staff, and it's not an easy lift. So we get a lot of questions about how that's supposed to look in different classes, but our staff is doing a great job of rising to the occasion. And I'll also mention here that part of that curriculum alignment is also focusing on work-based learning and transition into adulthood or transition into post-secondary life. Right now we have about 37 scholars working in work-based learning through HFM BOCES, so that's a number that we can continue to expect to grow, especially as we move through the changes that the Portrait of a Graduate is going to bring to the secondary levels. And we do expect this to show, the work that we're doing here, we expect it to show in our graduation rates and our 3 through 8 and Regents exam proficiency rates. Our third goal is to build staff capacity in analyzing and using data to support instruction. So this is something that secondary teachers are working on in conjunction with their content areas. With Christine Elias, they're doing data cycles with Jay Jerebeck, and really diving into what's working and what's not working in the classroom. Our elementary groups have been doing this work in a number of different ways, and so their chunk of this goal, if you will, is a little bit different. They're working on progress monitoring individual IEP goals, but still focusing on that data piece to help us give more precise instruction and measurable progress that we'll see in student outcomes. We also anticipate that using these data cycles will help us improve our relationships with families, because we'll be able to be really specific about what's working and what's not working for scholars. Moving along, a lot of the mental energy that I expend in this role is dealing with the New York State Education Department. We have a couple of 3 large tasks throughout this school year that we'll be working with. So we are currently doing a suspension corrective action plan based on our 24-25 suspension data and the documentation review. We are undergoing some additional training and shoring up some internal policies and procedures in that capacity. A lot of paperwork involved, a lot of back and forth, and a lot of collaboration between the building principals in our office. SEQA is the Special Education Quality Assurance Program, and we are working with what's called the Regional Partnership to improve our state performance indicators. That's that 3 through 8 testing and Regents exam testing proficiency rates again, and that's where they're helping us to focus on explicit instruction coaching and offering some professional development. So actually, their representative will be here tomorrow doing some observations to start some coaching cycles with middle school teachers. So this particular initiative with New York State Education Department is focusing on the middle school, direct consultant teacher models in grades 6 through 8. So it's a pretty, finite group of people that are gonna be participating in that, but we're hoping that the work that comes out of it will be able to be scaled up and down. The last piece from the state ed department that's sort of taken up a lot of my time is this SPP8. SPP, as a special educator, we love acronyms, so I'm just gonna throw alphabet soup at you all day. SPP is the state performance plan, and so number 8 is a parent involvement survey. We are going to be required to have a certain percentage of surveys filled out and completed and returned to the district by August of '26, and then we get graded. Not just the grade, so to speak, on what the parents say in the survey, but also the percentage of them that return it. So we have established last spring, I worked with last spring with the special education quality assurance people to create an action plan on how we're gonna get all these surveys returned and hopefully have some positive feedback with families. So by the numbers, currently, and these numbers change every day. So right now we have 416 CSE scholars who attend programs in our district. We have an additional 57 scholars who attend BOCES program. That's HFM BOCES, Questar BOCES, Capital Region BOCES, and also the Herkimer Hamilton. I'm not sure what they call themselves, but they're a little farther west from us. And then 17 scholars who are in out-of-district placements. Those are private placements that offer day treatment programs. This little pink tiny sliver are our students who are in residential programming. And then our CPSE, those are our preschoolers. So there's currently 68, 2.5 to preschool. They can start anywhere around 2.5 with early intervention, because we need to identify them by the time they turn 3. So they are starting to get into our system a little bit before their 3rd birthday. So that number's currently at 68. Just for reference, last year our CPSE numbers were reported in November by Nikki Morton as 48. So 20 more this year. And to that end, we've have a part-time CPSE chairperson, Dr. Kelly Swart, who's been working with our preschool families. That's been a huge help. She's also doing a lot of the evaluations for them since she's a school psychologist. So that CPSE number is a 41% increase. And just so everybody's clear, when you identify a preschooler, it's really by the numbers. They need to fall 2 standard deviations below the mean. It's a really quick yes or no. Do they fall 2 standard deviations below the mean? Then they qualify, and if they don't, then they don't qualify. So we're not overqualifying little ones. This is just a reminder of our continuum. We did add a new ratio for this school year. We have a 12-1-1 continuum, a 12-1-2 classroom at Park Terrace. I would say that those may be the most challenging scholars in our district. They are between the kindergarten and 2nd grade age level, and are still working on a lot of communication skills that enable them to be ready to learn. So we're working on a lot of ready-to-learn behaviors in that group. And all the rest of them, I listed there for you where they're available, what age levels. But as a district this size, it is important that we sort of hit all of these different types of services. I think this is a great visual just to see that our scholars require all sorts of different types of supports throughout their day. Another highlight I wanted to make sure everybody was aware of is our unified sports programs. I'm sure you've seen some social media posts and some other great celebrations. We have bocce ball now that's newly added this year. bowling team. I just love this, like how proud is this young guy? We have our basketball team. I believe the bocce ball team just won their championship in their zone or their league. The basketball team came in, I think, first, and we have some really successful unified sporting teams. And I've been talking with Mr. DeMagistris to talk about bringing unified physical education to the high school. So we're really hoping that we can have a section of that class next school year as well in the high school to continue the partnership between our special education scholars and their gen ed peers. Questions?
Sarah, I just want to say that, special education it's tough work. It's a lot of moving parts, a lot of paperwork. You're dealing with a lot of emotions with the families. Obviously, the children are challenging. It's not just when they're in school, but they're also challenging at home often. The parents love them. They don't want them in trouble. They don't want them being out of district placements. They don't want them in BOCES programs. So it's a tough job that you and your counterparts have, and we really appreciate it. But your focus is absolutely where it needs to be. You're patient. You're surgical in how you go about trying to affect the change that you're trying to make. So I appreciate you and your counterparts in the office. Thank you.
All right, that's Ms. Stagel's class.
Thank you.
Nice job.
Next item is the student board member report.
Good evening, everyone. I want to talk about a few things of the month of October that happened at GHS. I'll try and keep it brief. I first wanted to introduce the World Languages Honor Societies for Spanish and Latin, which I'm officially a part of as well. They're now officially approved clubs since our previous board meeting. And we also represented them at the trunk or treat that Mr. Holland previously mentioned. Myself and Isabella Lamonto represented the Latin trunk, and then a majority of the Spanish 5 class represented the Spanish Honor Society, so I just wanted to recognize them. And then going into the annual trunk or treat hosted by Key Club, which was the 29th at Gloversville. It was a great turnaround, as Mr. Holloran previously mentioned. And I also wanted to highlight as the president that we also celebrated 75 years of the Trick or Treat with United Nations Children Fund, which is an organization that works to protect the rights and provide aid such as emergency relief, health, education, and clean water to children and families who experience poverty. So children kind of help children, basically people that are impoverished in other countries due to World War II. It's kind of an ongoing thing. They have orange packages that they send out, and it's just like children helping children, which is very nice to see. And now going into senior nights of the month of October, we celebrated 4 seniors for girls swimming on the 21st, and then 12 varsity football players and 6 volleyball players on the 24th of October. I wanted to congratulate the volleyball team for their season, and also wish the girls swimming good luck at sectionals this Saturday on the 8th, and then our boys football team who plays this Friday against Johnstown, which I know everyone's very excited about. And I also wanted to mention our Literacy on the Hardwood event hosted by our district, which Mr. Holloran already mentioned as well. Partnership with Little Huskies Trunk or Treat at Park Terrace. It was a very good turnout. I also participated, like he said. I think that even we can keep this event going annually and even further strengthen our literacy initiative by maybe doing it each semester. So we have spring sports coming in and the athletes that are kind of in that section, because I don't think that it was a very widespread message to the high school students to get involved. And that's why, it was only the football team and then just 3 soccer girls that heard about it. So I think if we can kind of get that initiative going a little bit better, it'd be a lot better to promote the on and off field to have that continued success with the event. So, and then I also lastly just wanted to talk about some senior specific events that are kind of approaching. So we got the senior parking spot paint approved, which is a very exciting event for the senior class. And it's also going to be a fundraiser, which requires each student to spend $20 to pay for their parking spot. That's going to be November 8th, which is this upcoming Saturday. So we're very excited to introduce that new tradition at Gloversville. And then lastly, I just wanted to mention the senior privileges that were put in place at 5 weeks, which I'm very excited about, and I know we're all very appreciative of those privileges. So that's all I have for you guys, kind of short and sweet.
Thank you, Brad.
Next.
sorry I stole some of your.
No, it's okay. I was looking at it and I kind of started deleting stuff, so I was like, okay, pretty much now.
I know, we should have her go first.
I agree.
Brevity's the spice of life.
It's okay.
Nice job.
What are the senior privileges now? Do you still leave the building?
Yeah, we have the building, we have a senior lounge as well in G lobby, so we can use this as well and use our phones, kind of breaking the New York State law.
Oh, nice. Better to ask for forgiveness and permission, remember that. All right, anybody have any other questions? All right, then we'll move on to our recommended items. We have 8.01 through 17.24. Anybody need anything pulled or questions, comments on any of those? Motion to approve all those by Mike, seconded by Sharon. All in favor of those? All right, then motion to go into executive session to discuss the personnel history and a contract item. Motion by John, seconded by Rob. All in favor of that? All right. Thank you, and there'll be no action taken afterwards. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.